Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever thought, am I really in control, or are all my decisions predetermined? Who actually is at the steering wheel of your life? Is it you? Is it your upbringing? Is it your genes? Is it fate? Or is it karma? Or is your life actually in the lap of the gods? Did you all really make a conscious decision to come today in the delectable, enlightened, intellectual cloisters of this heartwarming hotel? Or perhaps it was predetermined that we should spend our Sunday here in this sunny, switched-on Swindon. Now, as you can imagine, this has been a hot subject for debate for thousands of years. And one has to say that there's probably not going to be any satisfactory conclusion. But each age brings its own twist on this decision of whether we have a freedom of will. So we have to look back to come up to date. So let's start, shall we, with the ancient Greeks. Now, they believed that freedom of will was all about compulsion, necessity. And in fact, Aristotle himself, he believed in freedom of will until he got married. And then we move straight on to the medieval theologians. They struggled with the idea of God's foreknowledge of everyone's actions with this freedom of will. But then in medieval times, everybody was serfs. So did they really have much freedom of will? So let's race up to today, the 21st century. And as I stand before you, I want to pose this question. Do we really have freedom of will? Or is it an illusion? And if it is an illusion, will lunch be served today? So let's look at the evidence. Let me have that brain wave. Now, our brains are part of sort of convoluted, massive nervous tissue in our skulls. In fact, it is a chaotic, complicated, cranial mass. Who knows? Who understands it? But we have our brain, then we have our conscious mind and our decisions. But do we really have our decisions? Now, I know as I stand here and you are all sitting there serenely and seriously, that as I'm talking, random thoughts will be popping into your minds. Oh yes, indeed. And these random thoughts could in fact be anything. You could actually be thinking, I wonder what Kay looks like without any clothes on. Hey, too much information. But of course it could be, will I have time to mow the lawn tonight? But whatever they are, they pop into your mind. Where do they come from? Nowhere, somewhere. But do we have any control? No, we don't. So therefore, we don't have control of these random thoughts. So we have no control. So no control over our thoughts. So how can we have control over our actions? Now, in the 1980s, a scientist by the name of Benjamin Libet, he conducted a scientific experiment. And it was all about the movement of your fingers. And the conclusion of that experiment was, in fact, that when we choose to move our fingers, our brains have momentarily chosen before our conscious mind has caught up. So, there we have it. Before you actually make a two-finger gesture, should you be so inclined, you can blame it on your brain. It wasn't you at all. So here we are. We are the products of our parents. Two random, haphazard, perhaps in my case unusual people, who've come together to actually create our unique brain. It is undeniably unique. And how can we control something so sophisticated? Choice, effort are the causal part of our brain, but me, you, self, it, they're not created by our brains. We have no choice as to what we're going to do next. So if our behaviour is such that we can't control it, how then can we control our moral and our legal responsibility? And this is something I think you'll find that Oscar Pistorius is thinking about at this very moment. So if I tell you, last night while you were watching the television, I actually committed a murder. I murdered my neighbours. I know you can't believe it because I'm here. But in fact, if you think about it, I have no control over my actions. So therefore, if I have no control over my thoughts, my actions, hey, I can't be responsible for my misdemeanours. You could also think about your friendship. You think you've wisely chosen your friends. I would suggest that in fact it was predetermined, and your friends are such that your brains have predetermined who they are, because we all like relationships with ourselves. We are narcissistic. So let's just think of it. We are physical beings of the universe, of the cosmos, of all mankind. And if you throw in nurture, you throw in nature, yes, free will. It is an illusion. It's an illusion. But yes, we can mull and deliberate if we choose over our decisions. But all our minute, microscopic decisions are determined by the grey matter. Yes, you know, that intermediate colour between black and white, all 50 shades of it. So when you're next to the fork in the road, and to the right is the rolling green pastures of the countryside, to the left, the busy bright lights of the city, just reflect on your choice for a moment. Did you really have a carefully considered choice?